Hi, welcome back to the channel, and a build request today that we're going to fulfill is to build this car, the Ubermacht SC1 in game. In real life it's based on the BMW M1 Hommage. I do believe that you're supposed to pronounce it the French way, although we'll often say pay homage to, but that's convenient because this car pays homage to the BMW M1, the mid-engine supercar that was absolutely gorgeous. They didn't make that many of. I think it was in the late 70s. There's a photo of the two cars together here. Well, in 2008, Chris Bangle, and that you may remember, he's the designer who made some crazy looking cars at the time. Things like the BMW E60. All 5 Series people said, "Oh, I can't stand that. That looks horrible." Later, everybody ended up liking Chris Bangle's designs after all. Anyway, he designed this wonderful car. It's purely a one-off car. Wasn't a concept car really as such, just more of a one-off. I say, to pay homage to the M1. Well, later, some design parts of this car were used tangentially in the BMW i8. That's why the Rockstar designers actually built this using some i8 parts in their usual crafty mix-up of cars. So to build this car is reasonably simple, although it does use a crew colour, and I've got more to say about the paint when we get there, but let's rattle through the easy bits of the build first. Starting with the exhausts. In fact, I've just changed these since you saw the car. I think that these twin race exhausts are probably the least obvious in a way. The large oval are also quite subtle. These are too big and these are too big. The real car doesn't have visible exhausts, and that's why you're trying to tone them down. On the front, you don't want any of these tacky splitters, and therefore you must pick stock. The hood is stock. For the lights, of course, the xenon light was king back then. You really must put xenon lights on this car, I think. For the louvers at the back, if you were going a secondary paint route that we could talk about, then you would be able to use that. But for our build, carbon extended louvers, I would definitely go for dark yellow on black plate. For the respray, now I've got this colour as close as I can, and I think it looks really nice. I do think that the real car looks better. I haven't managed to get any better. The issue with this colour is that it's a sort of browny colour with a very bright sort of but deep orange pearl. I have tried to make just the colour using a single colour so that I don't need a pearl. I'll explain why in a second. You can't make it work. The car really is a sort of twin colour car in reality when that pearl shines. This colour, this crew colour hex on the screen, it's a little bit of a mix between sienna brown and a sunrise orange, really. So it's a fairly dark colour. And the pearlescent is, of course, an orange colour. I've used sunrise orange. You can go brighter. You can put normal orange on it if you think that lifts it a little bit more. I think either of them work. In order to talk about the secondary colour, I first need to change this skirt option down here. And now I'm going to show you something about the secondary colours on this car. You can see very easily in white the areas that it paints, and the bulk of these areas on the real car are a sort of shiny black. They're not body coloured. In fact, this is glass, in fact, and it's like a shiny black limo glass. There is more black down here. This bit on the rear car is a sort of silver. Well, we don't have a tertiary colour, but if we could paint all these shiny black, I would do. The problem is that once you go black, you do get quite a lot of that pearlescent shining through. I mean, look at that front splitter there. It looks like brown. And that, for me, really spoils the option to paint these parts black, which is a shame. As I say, I've tried a bright enough crew colour that you can just add a very small neutral pearl, like black steel, something like that. But you just can't get the colour distribution right. So I just leave the crew colour as the secondary. And then on skirts, this carbon detail, if you watch me flick up and down, you can see it pretty much paints all the parts that we wanted shiny black in carbon, which is a matte black. It's not perfect, but I think that is going to be the closest that you're going to get if you want to use any sort of pearl on the car. We bypassed the roof, but it's just stock. There is no spoiler on the car, and you can't even add a subtle one for traction because they're all massive spoilers. Suspension right down the bottom, sport. For the wheels, I'll give you a choice of wheels, and I expect at least one of you to give me another choice down below, or I should be disappointed. But if you go into SUV, I think this is why you'll find your prime options, and you must go into chrome. You've got to spend the money on these wheels because they're so shiny on the real car. I've chosen Extravaganzo partly for the way that they dish, if you like, towards the middle, the shape. The overall, therefore, profile of these wheels is very similar to what we're going for. And there's, of course, loads of slots, not in the right orientation, but these give me a little bit of the feeling of the wheel we cannot reproduce. And I like this. I also like Lod Speed 10. That has plenty of slots. It's shiny, at least the middle recesses. It's the BMW style rim, sort of, anyway, isn't it? Makes you think of the old E46 M3. So that's a pretty good choice, and it's cheaper here than in, is it high end? The best wheel is Cognoscenti here. I mean, look at this. You've got a great big flat piece. You've got, okay, little holes more than slots. This wheel to me is the closest looking wheel. This is the wheel I think you should put on your car. But I don't like it. There's just something about it. When it doesn't have exactly the profile. So whilst I think that in some ways it's closest, and it's absolutely one I would expect people to tell me to look at, it doesn't do it for me. That just seems to have the better profile for the wheel. So Extravaganzo from SUV it is for me. And the windows, which are limoed out. So this completes the build then of the M1 Hommage, which we definitely need to see in the sun again, because it's really, as I say, outside that this colour quite literally shines. Now, I didn't make this colour up, so please don't give me any credit in the comments. I took it from GTAcolors.com, and it was BMW Sunset Red. So it's just a really nice colour that they use already. All I did was change to a more vibrant pearl. If you don't own this car, by the way, you hopefully heard it already. It sounds really great, and it drives ever so well. So if you don't have one of these, and assuming it's not a removed vehicle, I don't know, I haven't looked up. But you really could do worse than pick one up, especially when it's on sale. I mean, if it's got a downside, the only downside is that if you like real cars in GTA, well, there's only one build for it. You really do have to love a garage, don't you? That you have to scratch your car to get it through. Okay, here it is back with all of its concept and prototype car friends in a very pink garage. I wish you could change the colours on these walls. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Click like if you did, sub if you like real cars and GTA, and thank you so much for watching.